if you were wondering, well, what are some of your more easier credit cards to get that YouTubers are probably not talking about? Well, we're going to dive into that because a lot of these credit cards people aren't really paying attention to. I do mention them, but people just really don't pay attention to the leverage they have with these credit cards. Now, let's talk about that first credit card. The first credit card is the Wells Fargo Reflect, okay? It's the Wells Fargo Reflect. But there's a reason why that this here Wells Fargo Reflect card is so important, okay? Now, here's the thing about it. With the Wells Fargo Reflect card, it's a Experian FICO 9, right? So it's an Experian FICO 9. So that means that with FICO 9 scorings, it's okay to have an authorized user on it. It's okay to have rental payments on your credit file. It's okay to have subscriptions and utility bills on your credit file. This is the reason why I like this. Now, the bigger perk to this here Wells Fargo Reflect card, or most of Wells Fargo cards, period, is that like with this here Wells Fargo Reflect, just for example, it's 21 months, right? So it's 21 months, 0% on balance transfers and purchases. On balance transfers, you're not paying any interest on money for the next 21 months. That gives you so much leverage and so much on interest and everything. Somebody wants to say hi. Let me see. You want to say hi? This is Susie, all right? And every now and then she likes to get on camera and say hi, all right? So everybody say hi to Susie. Now, going back to what I'm saying, like I said, she likes a moment in the sun every now and then. Going back to what I'm saying, with Wells Fargo, 21 months on 0% interest on balance transfers and purchases, what ends up happening is that they also give you convenience checks, right? And so what that means is that you can actually transfer the money from the card over to your checking account, and now you just have all of this cash, all right? So that's a great thing, but here's an even better thing. Say that the amount that they give you is a low limit and you want a higher amount, you can actually call in and they will do a soft pull to try to get you a credit limit increase. So you don't have to get that extra hard inquiry on your credit file, all right? So that's the reason why I like Wells Fargo cards, all right? So I know some people may not like the banking of it or whatever. And here's the thing about it. So your average credit score is going to be about a 670, okay? About a 670 credit score to get this here card, all right? So that's number one. Then number two is US Bank, right? US Bank Platinum. Now, here's the thing about US Bank Platinum. They usually pull TransUnion FICO 9 as well. So they use TransUnion FICO 9 for most of the time. Sometimes they may use Experian, but the majority of the time with US Bank, they're going to use this FICO 9. Now, here's the cool part about it. It used to be 18 months. Now they're 21 months as well in terms of the interest that you're paying on balance transfers and purchases. Not only that, going a step further, is that they also will give you convenience checks, right? So they'll give you convenience checks also for you to liquidate that money and put it into your bank account, and you're not paying any interest on that money for 21 months, right? So this gives you, like if you're trying to start your own Airbnb, or you're trying to get into the Toro, or you're trying to start a restaurant or something like that, this actually gives you that leverage, okay? So that's the reason why I actually like this. Now, in reference to the average credit score with them, I would say I would probably be about a 680 or higher, okay, with them, all right? So I would be about a 680 or higher with them. Now, in reference to the next card, we're talking about BMO. Okay, so BMO is not in every state, so they're not a nationwide like Wells Fargo and US Bank. All right. However, the thing about BMO that I like is because they use a Vantage 4 scoring system. So many of you are familiar with your Vantage 3, which you get from Credit Karma, right? But with your Vantage Score 4, it's even better because now you're not looking at any public records. They're not considering public records. If you have less than $100 on a collections account, they're not counting that. If you have multiple inquiries from like shopping around for a car or a loan or something like that, mostly times a car or a mortgage or something, then it's only counted as one inquiry, right? So that's the reason it's Vantage 4. Plus, you also can leverage authorized users' rental payments, subscriptions, utility bills on the Vantage 4 as well, right? So this is why this is very important. And by the way, with your Vantage 4, now your Vantage 4 in your FICO 10T trending, those are actually the scores that they're actually using for you to buy a home with an FHA loan, right? So now they're using very low-hanging fruit in order to help you get into a house if you're trying to get into a house, all right? Now, here's the thing about it. With them, because it is a Vantage 4, they're platinum. They have a platinum, okay? And with their platinum card, it's 18 months, right? It's 18 months. And like I said, it's a Vantage score. So it's very different from a FICO score. And because it's very different from a FICO score, I would say on the Vantage side, you want about a 680. All right. Now, here's another thing that I like about BMO that people don't talk about. BMO has a minority business loan program. You usually would have to have about a I think it's like a 640 credit score to get a minority business loan from them. So that's even a greater opportunity. And plus, if you need a business line of credit, it's a soft pull as well, right? So that's the reason, like I said, there's a lot of people talking about these credit cards and stuff, but they're not talking about the bigger picture in terms of the benefits of them. Now, another one is BCU. Now, here's the thing about it with Baxter Credit Union. We all know that it's a Vantage 3, okay? Now, in terms of how do you join BCU, you join BCU and they're non-geo restricted, meaning that you can be anywhere in the country and anybody can join them. They're very okay with that. So you would join the Life Money U program, which is about $5, okay? So it's about $5 to join that. Now, maybe that'll help. Here's the other thing about this. Because this is a Vantage 3, again, it's being a low-hanging fruit. It's much easier. Now, the best credit card they have is a 12-month 0%, right? That's the best credit card. But again, you're dealing with a low-hanging fruit. So your credit score can be about a 650 in order to get approved for this 0% interest credit card, right? So that's the reason why that I continue to tell people, hey, pay attention to some of these other credit cards because they can probably give you more leverage. Now, there's another cool thing about it. Say that with BCU, if you make a late payment on your credit card, they do not change your interest rate. Because like with some credit card payments, if you make a late payment, then your interest rate changes and it goes up higher. Well, with them, if you make a late payment, your interest rate still stays the same. So this is why like some of these credit card companies are so unique, these credit unions, some of these other banks and stuff are so unique because they give you more leverage, all right? So that's the reason why they're a good one. Now, you have PINFED, right? So you have PINFED. Now with PINFED, it is a FICO 9 Equifax. I'll tell you why I put Experian in a minute. But you just need $5, right? So all you need is $5 to join. All right. Now, because it is a FICO 9, again, another low-hanging fruit. Now, here's the interesting thing about PenFed. The card you want to go for is their gold. All right. You want to go for that gold card. The reason is because it gives you 15 months of 0% on balance transfer Okay, on balance transfers and purchases. That's the reason that you want this here card. All right, because again, trying to save you money and be able to leverage. Now, the reason that I wrote Experian, so with their FICO 9 Experian, the reason this is important because most people are not aware with their personal loans. With their personal loans, they use Experian. Okay, so for those of you like wondering, well, what if I want to get a personal loan and stuff? Like I said, 640, 650. But I have seen people with a 620 credit score get approved for their credit cards and loans, right? And the reason I know this because I'm looking at people's credit files all the time and stuff and knowing what are the data points. So that's the reason I can say that. So I'm not just guessing or whatever. Now, you have another one. You have okay? Now with USAA, they have some reward cards, okay? So they have some reward. And so their reward cards, you have Amex and you have Visa, right? So you have Amex and Visa at 0%, okay? And that's for 15 months with them as well. Now, in terms of USAA, they are a little more challenging in order to join because it has to be really somebody, a friend, membership, military or whatever. They're not letting anybody in the door or whatever. I have a brother that's military. My dad was Vietnam and stuff like that. And I still have not even attempted to go to them, right? But I have been thinking about it, whatever, because of their interest rate and their car insurance, right? So that may be something that I may consider, but I don't talk to my dad. So, hey, I'm up in the air. Maybe my brother will help out. But at the same time, I'm saying this, that 15 months of 0% interest, all right? Now, here's the interesting thing about them. They pull Experian FICO 3. So they pull Experian FICO 3. So usually your Experian FICO 3, that's usually looking at your mortgage score. Now look guys, when I'm telling you about these different scorings and stuff, whenever you're shopping for credit cards, whenever you're shopping for loans and stuff, you need to have access to your real credit report, all right? And so I'm going to put a link below because you need to see what's actually on your credit score. Because you go over to Vantage Score, you go over to Credit Karma. So if you go over to Credit Karma, what ends up happening is that, yes, they'll give you your Vantage Score for your TransUnion and your Equifax. Then you may go over to Experian and get your FICO score, but they don't give you the other scores and things of that nature. And the tri-merge scores on Experian, people are not aware that that's giving you a TransUnion Civil as well as a Equifax Vantage score. All right. So that's the reason you need to go where you actually can get the real numbers so you know exactly what's on your credit file. All right. So that's the reason why this is so important. Now, here's another one. You have Alliant, okay? Credit Union, all right? Now, here's the thing about it with Alliant. They use TransUnion Vantage 4, all right? So they use TransUnion Vantage 4 as well. Now, here's the thing about it. They offer 12 months, 0%, right? So the way to join them is you would have to join the Freelancers Union, right? Anybody can join this, the Freelancers Union, and then this will give you a free pass to join Alliant, all right? So that is an option for you, all right? So now you also, and I know people are like, well, what about Navy Fed? Okay, so with Navy Fed, you are TransUnion FICO 9, right? So many people are aware of that, the TransUnion FICO 9 for their credit cards and stuff. Plus, also their internal score, right? So the internal score is from 100, it's from 100 to 450, right? Qualify for a credit card, right? So people are aware of that. And so the direct deposits, checking account, savings account, especially when you have bad credit, your in rewards, your pledge loan, and then a CD or money market account. That's what helps you with your internal score, right? So we are aware of that here. Now, they have the Navy Federal Platinum, okay? And I think right now it's not at 0%. It used to be at 0% on purchasing value trust. Now I think it's like 1 or 2%. Starting out. Anybody in the comments that recently applied for the Navy Federal, put a comment below. If you got the platinum card, what was your interest rate, right? So people are aware of this. If I'm doing a good job, if this is helping you as well, please put a comment below. Hit that bell, and when you hit that bell, make sure that you hit the drop down button and click all so you can get all of my videos as they come out. Right? But these are some of the best credit cards that you should consider getting when you're starting out and you're trying to get high limits and things of that nature. These are some of the best credit cards. There's one other one that this is Elan Financial, okay? So with Elon Financial, you're going through certain credit unions like Connectus. Okay, so like with Connectus Credit Union, right? Here's the thing about it. With Connectus Credit Union, when you join them, they offer Elan Financial credit cards. Now, with Elan Financial credit cards that they offer, it is a TransUnion FICO 9, and they offer 0% interest. They offer 0% interest, and it's for 15 months. That's right. So you can get 15 months on, and this here is U.S. Bank's sister company as well. So this is U.S. Bank's sister company as well. So again, as you can see, there's one more. I'm sorry. You have your GM. So your GM is through Goldman Sachs, and it's a FICO 9, okay? FICO 9. Now, you can get this card with no hard inquiry, right? So you can actually do pre-approval and get this card with no hard inquiry. But that credit card is 0% for 12 months, right? So now you have 10 credit cards that are totally different than most of the credit cards that you hear people talking about. Now, if you have any questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. See you in the next video. Thank you.